Today on the Winning with Shopify podcast, some what? And like, those things like, oh, no one's ever bought those before.
Yeah, giving us 5 stars out of 5 purely because the little joke in the transactional email, like the email confirmation that went through to them, made them smile.
That was incredible. The VA, we needed them for 2 weeks this time. So just to look at those.
And that was a great PR moment for us. Yeah, there's times to not do the kiss, and there's times...
So George, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on. And as any of our listeners will know, my first question to every single guest we ever get on here is tell us a little bit about yourself, George, and also about Snaffling Pig, where you are the head of marketing.
That's right. Yes. Well, again, thanks for having me. My name's George Wells. I have been in marketing for a good 20 odd years now, but I have been with Snaffling Pig as head of marketing for the last 5 years. I joined from a big, hairy marketing agency, well-known one in the middle of London, and I just felt a bit sort of. I felt it was a bit soulless in a way and not sort of rewarding. And this opportunity at Snaffling Pig, which is this kind of plucky startup snack brand, doing something a little bit different and full of character, full of great personalities. This opportunity came up and I felt instantly at home there. And I've kind of never looked back, just been loving working for the brand and really sort of feeling very much part of it. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, well, that's good. And as someone who runs their own agency, I can vouch that I used to have all these aspirations of having like 1,000 staff and being the best in the world and all this. I don't want any of that now. I actually quite like the fact we're small, we're nimble, we're growing slowly and steadily. And as you say, still got that soul. And I think it's the same for any organization, whether it's an agency or brand. But yeah, I think obviously you're working within a company now where you've got quite a lot of control, I imagine, actually over marketing and the direction. And it's probably people you still have to report into and get approval from, but it's like one or two, not prove it with data so everybody accepts that it's no one's fault if it goes wrong.
Yeah, well, there's also nowhere to hide. I mean, again, sort of reflecting back on, so I've worked client side and agency side over the years, sort of for big and small companies. And I really found my sweet spot with it for exactly those same reasons you just mentioned, Nick, just being able to, everyone's kind of honest and on it, and there's nowhere to hide. And I was attracted to work at my previous role to work on some really sort of big, shiny, sexy brands like Coca-Cola and PlayStation and all of these really cool places, cool brands to work for. But I was just lost in a galaxy of 1,000 other people working on that account, and just you felt you had no real impact. So to go from that and then to go to actually a really genuinely interesting brand and product and work for a great team, and actually feel that what you are doing and the decisions you are making are actually having a direct impact, for better or worse, on that brand. So you really kind of get, well, I personally get a lot of buzz out of that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, I think it's nice to be able to get hands-on to something, actually put your heart and soul into it, rather than, as you say, it's certainly the more corporate clients we've worked with, it's like you're just pushing paper around. And I do find that like there's, and I've said this a few times on the show, there is this kind of, I would say kind of like mutual moan between small little nimble brands and big corporate heavyweight brands. The big brands are like, oh, there's all these tiny companies popping up out of nowhere with no stability, no proper marketing strategy, and they're eating into our market. Plus, you get the small guys going, oh, if only we had the budget of Amazon. Like, and you're kind of going, and I kind of say there's a flip side to all of that. You are the big corporate machine. Like, you do one small thing really well, no one can touch you. Whereas if you're the small, nimble brand, you can change your whole strategy in like 24 hours and really impress customers. And actually, if you hit the headlines, it terrifies the big companies. Sometimes it terrifies them into making a mistake as well, which actually gives you a bit more market share, or you can offer something and enter a space that they don't want to be in. And then you can start to become your own corporate one day as well and start to grow into that space if that's what you want. But tell us what the brand actually sell. Like, what do you guys actually have on the store? Like, what are the products?
So Snaffling Pig is essentially an indulgence brand. It is a snack brand, primarily, and at its very core, it's taken the humble pork scratching and brought it kicking and screaming from the 70s into the 21st century, and it was essentially started by our founder Nick Coleman, and he's it is a very emotive product. It is a product that gets people talking. We know as a product, a pork scratching or pork crackling is not everyone's cup of tea, and we're okay with that. We're not the healthiest brand. We're not certainly not vegan, and honestly, our carbon footprint's probably not as good as other brands and other products out there. But what we are is we're honest and we're humble, and we are all about getting people talking and bringing people together. The emotive side of it is really sort of harking back to sort of simpler times, as it were, but again, adding a bit of sort of 21st century humor and color and fun into it, and bring it to a whole new audience. So yeah, that's kind of the ethos of the brand. The product itself is essentially flavored pork crackling. It's available in pubs, it's available in supermarkets, but it's also giftable as well. So you'll find it in your gift shops, your John Lewis's and your Selfridges, and of course online on Shopify, funnily enough. So
Good. Absolutely. And I don't know if I've shown you actually, but I am actually wearing our new Winning with Shopify t-shirt, which will
love
be
it.
available on a Shopify store soon.
Well, perfect.
One of my colleagues was running around wearing this last week. But no, just to comment on the product. I think it's a really interesting product. As you say, it literally is being dragged out the 70s. It's the kind of thing where you'd get a beer at a pub in England or in the UK somewhere, and you'd get either some pork scratchings or some crisps. Crisps if you want the slightly healthier, lighter option. Pork scratchings if you're hardcore, but they're
Yeah.
not good for you. I'm a massive fan,
Well,
but they're not good for you. Um,
it's true. It's true. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always think that, yeah, you can get like crisps in a meal deal and everything, but who wants that when you're, once a week? As it is an indulgence, and it's not something that we would recommend eating every day, but it is
yeah,
an
it's not
indulgence, and
part of the
it's
5 a day, is it?
no, it's about embellishing those moments that you do have, those rare moments where you do get to catch up with your mates, be it down the pub or in the cafe or wherever it is, or the picnic, or whatever, and you just kind of, and it gets you talking, it gets you smiling. So no, exactly that. It's just that kind of to celebrate those joyous moments in life where we're just connecting with people.
Absolutely. And this isn't a question I've got written down, but you've mentioned it, and I know my listeners will probably want to know this. And the context of this question really is I and lots of others have been on a mission for many years now to try and make websites, specifically e-commerce sites, look less like an Amazon marketplace and more like a brand. And I think the really hard bit of this, and I say hard, is strategically in terms of like a tactic, it's not hard, but deployment is really difficult. And that's bringing, as you say, that emotive side into this of how do you bring that kind of 21st century branding, make it fun. You mentioned like John Lewis, which if I said to my wife, which I'm going to when I get home to see what she says today, like, honey, did you know you can buy these lovely premium gifting pork scratchings in John Lewis? And for all of our American listeners, I don't think you've got John Lewis in the US, but it's one of the more premium retailers in the UK. So they have their own brand, but they mostly sell the brands. It's all quite expensive, but they also have like a bit of a price match thing going on. It's always extended warranty. The customer service in the stores and the quality of product is always incredibly high, which is the reason I'm saying that as well. Is it's completely counter actually to getting that product in a pub. So I guess a big question, George, I know it's like this is almost like the secret sauce of any business. How do you bring across that emotive, it's an indulgent product, it's fun, it's 21st century branding, it's not the back shelf of a pub covered in dust behind the
Yeah.
beer barrels anymore. How do you bring that across in
Okay.
pixels on a web page?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, the we try our I guess our roots and our soul is the pub, right? So that's like the mothership, if you like, in terms of the experience and the trying to evoke that kind of emotional side of things. So it's kind of that sort of sense of humor as well that we absolutely try to inject in every customer touch point, be it on the packaging with the bright bold colors, right down to the copy on the back. It's kind of like a cheeky. The tone of voice is often described as more easily sort of identified as sort of cheeky, early to mid 90s schoolboy sort of playground humor, but not in a kind of a
That is
bawdy.
my era.
Yeah, well, that's me. I
Yeah,
still am.
that's
But
cool.
it's
Yeah.
not very. So you know, almost naff. In fact, the fact that I've used the word naff is also it's
We need our marketing and branding to be naff,
yeah.
guys. That's the
Yeah, I mean, it's
KPI.
kind
Is
of,
it naff?
but
Yeah.
but even the word naff is just, oh, God, yeah, I mean, even that just dates me as well. But it's kind of, it's the
Yeah.
throwback. So again, it's all that kind of nostalgia
Mm.
piece. So whether it's on the packaging, whether it's in our gift boxes, and when you find it in John Lewis, it's important that it's recognised that it's clear that it's a premium brand. It's not a cheap. There are cheaper alternatives out there, and there are sort of options that you can go if you just want a plain. If you're a die-hard pork scratching fan, you probably won't be coming to us. But if you're someone who's like, oh, I remember those, and actually, this is fun, that's where we play. So, and how we communicate on the website, and in fact, every digital touch point, every sort of line of communication we have with our customers, we make sure that tone of voice and generally that attitude is sort of come across. It's got to be fun, otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it reminds me actually quite a lot of brands. And ironically, they're all like vegan health brands as opposed to your brand. But I love that you're almost trying to play in that same space, but with an alternative product to the, drink. Like I'm thinking oat milk, for example, the amount of oat milk brands when you read the back and it's like, hey, what do you mean no cow? And it uses quite very conversational branding and content in that. Certainly, I mean, I thinking back, there's at least, I won't mention them on the show today, 'cause talking about you guys, but there's at least two other pork scratching brands I remember. And again, I mentioned earlier, like back of the pub covered in dust. That's how I think about the product when almost when you say to a bar, the bartender these days and say, like, oh, can I have a packet of pork scratchings? They're like, some what? And like those things like, oh, no one's ever bought those before.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's
it's just
literally
so
been in there
different to when
since
I
the
was a kid at the
70s.
pub.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember going with dad, and it was like, you can have a lemonade, Nick, but you can also help yourself to these. And I'd be like, wow, they're so salty, dad, and all this. And like, but I was like, I'm an adult now eating adult food. And
It's
so
funny you
that's
should
how I
say.
remember them.
It's funny you should say that. Our co-founder, sorry, our founder Nick, also he essentially that's what he's based. That was the dream of the business, and he the only difference between that story and yours is that he had a pint of Coke and he was, but he had the pork scratchings. And he said the same thing. He felt like a grown up.
Coke if I was well behaved that week, I think it
Oh,
was.
okay,
Otherwise, it
okay.
was lemonade. Yeah, yeah.
Other cola brands are available. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess like I love your answer to that, by the way. I think it's a really good way of looking at the brand and going, okay, what actually resonates with customers? I'm going to ask you a really, really hard question now. How do you track if the branding is working? Like, how do you know then you make a change to the content, you change the color, you update it, a refresh? How do you, rather than just looking at bottom line and going, well, it went up, so it must have been a success, which quite frankly, I know a lot of big corporate brands and agencies would just look at that. How do people like you and I actually get more into the detail? Like, what do you guys look at to go, are we resonating with our customers at the
hmm.
moment?
Well, I would argue it's probably easier for a larger brand to do that, who have the resources and the dedicated teams and analysts to do that. Um, we don't have that. We're a small plucky brand. We don't have that available to us, but we do, of course, test and learn and look at content all the time. The way I see it is, it might be boring, but, or it might be time consuming, but boring in terms of a response, not in terms of what we do. Is we just speak to our customers, and we speak to them on a daily basis through our customers, and so we get all kinds of we monitor feedback right across the web, and it's all qualitative feedback, uh, and the joy that we get from customers who, you'll look on our Trustpilot scores, and I'd say 20% of them are referring to the giving us 5 stars out of 5 purely because the little joke in the transactional email, like the email confirmation that went through to them, made them smile, or the subject line of an email made them smile, or some comment we made on Facebook. That's the bits that are telling us that it is working. And when you look at those customers specifically, when you dig down into the data, go, oh, so what's that profile? They're customers that have come back to us 2, 3, 4 times. So really, it's just, we've also seen our customer satisfaction scores grow over the past sort of 4 to 5 years. We've been, we were on around sort of, when you look at the Trustpilot scores, we were around sort of 3, 2.5, 3 out of 5 at one point when we first started, and then now we're kind of 4.5, 4.6, I think last time we checked. So just that, and it's the touch points that are really sort of helping drive that.
Yeah, I love that. And we had a client recently that basically said to us, like, how can we hear from customers without talking to them? Just as a quick, what have we got? And you mentioned reviews, and reviews are such a powerful place to do that. I think one issue I found is sometimes, I don't know if anyone's got the attention span of me, which is like I aspire to have the attention span of a fish at times. I look at like 3 comments and trust me, I go, I've seen enough. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. We actually got for a client, we got a VA, just a virtual assistant on board for like a week. They weren't based in the UK. The costs weren't astronomical at all. And we just said to them, like, look, we've got 2,000 reviews. We want you to, on every single review, just get a spreadsheet and add a new column for a new thing. If they spoke about delivery and no one else had, add delivery in a column, and then just tally up how many people have mentioned good delivery, bad delivery, and just tally up kind of red crosses, green ticks, and we use that just to create some quantitative feedback. And one of the things we noticed actually is about 70% of the reviews just said like, great product, great service, it arrived on time, thanks guys, 5 stars. And it's like, that's cool, but actually we weren't getting enough from those guys. So we went to Trustpilot. We got a really good partnership with them here, and we went to them and said, can we adjust the emails to try and incentivize them to do something else? So then we started trying to get, we managed to get 5% of customers to actually upload a picture of the product. That was incredible. The VA, we needed them for 2 weeks this time. So just to look at those, to then tally up, like, what room was it in? What color was the carpet? Was it a well lit room, a bad lit room? Were they using it for what seems like the product's intended use here or not? Obviously, it's slightly different with food and drink because, I mean, you're going to take a selfie of somebody's mouth. Like, that's not a good look. But
We've
it'd be
we've
interesting to know,
seen
like,
some
yeah.
pictures in our time. I can tell you, I'll tell you about one of those in a minute. But yeah,
It's always when the waiter comes over to the table, isn't it? And how's your food? And you've just put a mouthful, and you just it's the kind of response to the waiter.
yeah,
Um,
that's a real gripe of mine when that happens. Like I'm a grumpy git when it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to that kind of thing. Yeah,
I know. I've worked out a trick. Just make eye contact with other people on the table and go like, "Has anyone has anyone not got a mouthful of food?"
yeah,
Otherwise, just thumbs up. Good.
yeah, yeah,
but
exactly.
but yeah, we got them to then look at those, and we tried to incentivize people who, especially if they reach out to customer service. We then said, if we've resolved your query, could you leave us a review, please? And then they said, oh, these guys' customer service is amazing. And then it went, okay, let's put great customer service on the site. We did that on an A/B test. Revenue went up slightly. Then we went, how do we really bring that to life? Like, do we use live chat? Do we say like 9 to 5? We guarantee to reply within a minute. Like, we put that on the little speech bubble, like, guaranteed 1 minute reply or 20% off. Those are your options. And it was like, we never gave a 20% off because somebody in the team was always around. And what the owner did is, his customer service team, he had 20 people in the team. He said to them all, like, look, I'm giving you all an extra 5% salary if you if you let us connect to your WhatsApp. So even if you're making a coffee or something, just get back to that first message as fast as possible. Even if it's a, thanks for your query. It's going to take me a few minutes to look into this, but I'm on this. Regards, Dave. Like, even if Dave's actually on the loo or making a coffee or he's nipped out for a vape or something, like, there's something then going on. So you got that response. But we realized that customer service was so important to the product because people wanted to ask questions. By merchants, Yotpo, which you might be using, is sunsetting its email and SMS products. You may have got an email from them, and if you haven't, this might be the first time you're hearing about this. So if you have been using them, then you might be wondering what's next. Well, our sponsor Seguno has you covered. Seguno is the most deeply integrated email marketing platform for Shopify and makes switching really, really simple with hands-on onboarding, migration help, and deliverability expertise. Right now, with code WWS20, you get 20% off your first 3 months with Seguno. So don't let your marketing skip a beat. Switch to Seguno today at seguno.com/winning with Shopify. But go on, you've seen some things. what was the most memorable thing that you've been sent by a customer or
I
seen on
mean,
social?
we've got some. I mean, one of the wonderful things about our customers is that they are very loyal. And they are very passionate about their products, and so they'll tell us as soon as they, in no uncertain terms, if they're unhappy, which is absolutely great because that's what we
Yeah,
want to hear from them.
you'd rather know. You'd
But
definitely rather
also,
know.
they proactively tell us when something was great, and it gets me thinking. I can't remember the last time I actually just told a brand, thanks for this. Unless they've gone above and beyond and try to, but someone who but anyway, they send in stuff about them enjoying their product, and we've had. So in our advent calendars, we have these sort of smaller packets. Obviously, they've got to be small because they've got to fit in the little advent doors. But One was such a diehard fan of these products that he ordered. He wanted them ordered by the case, so not worried about the advent. He just wanted lots and lots of little packets of this crackling. And okay, fine. So we sorted that out for him, and then he took a picture really, which was both disturbing and hilarious at the same time. Just completely stark naked, but just the only thing covering his dignity
Oh my
was.
god.
I don't mean to insult him. It was a small packet of crackling, but all I'm saying is that it was the only thing that was covering his dignity. And
Oh
God
dear.
love him. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was one of the most wonderful sort of spill your coffee out your nose moments where you're like, okay,
As
right,
head of
let's just brighten my
marketing,
day up.
your work here is done,
It's like,
George.
and
You've made it.
I, it would have been lovely on social media,
Yeah.
but I thought that's not.
No, it's
I
yeah.
no,
There's a
it's
line, isn't there? There
that
is a
that's
line. I think
that's private use only. Not that
yeah.
it was private use, just to be clear.
Yeah. We did have a client recently actually did a feedback survey, and the owners were like in two minds about this. One mind they were like, it's good that we know that it's basically female adult performers are our only target audience. We thought we were sending stuff out for like, a wife to impress her husband in bed and whatever, but actually it was adult performers and whatever else. So they changed their photography to reflect that, and sales went up through the roof. And it was like, from a moral perspective, I did have to kind of spend 5 minutes at home that night just thinking like, is this something we want to really help with? Do I even like this industry? But I think it was just the better that was their whole customer base. Hopefully, what you got was just one customer having a laugh. But then when you were saying about like last time you went over and above to like reach out to brands and say that was just great, guys. Who thinks to go? Do you know what? Naked selfie, let's go
Yeah,
and
yeah. This
send it
all,
to the
yeah,
brand.
yeah. I mean, a trust pilot review would have
Yeah,
been lovely. Give us a 5 out of
yeah.
5. But anyway, some they say feedback's a gift, don't they? So,
There's
um,
so many jokes I could make, but I won't. We'll move
yes,
on.
yeah. We'll
But
move
no, I
on.
appreciate that. We've all had stories like that for sure. I mean, talking about the brand and the evolution. Then, like in the early days, and certainly, I mean, you said I think it's 5 years. You've said you've been there, haven't you? So, in the earlier days, like what were some of the key challenges you guys had to overcome? Like, what were some of the things that you knew and had to deal with? What were some of the things you eventually found out but kind of didn't know initially? Like, what were some of those early hurdles?
Well, I guess early in my time at Snaffling Pig, it wasn't long after that COVID hit. So obviously that was a big challenge in many ways. But I think because we are and initially, we are a pub snack brand essentially, and then when all the pubs closed, that was both
Yeah, yeah.
unexpected, unprecedented, and all those other
And
kinds of things.
shops as well, your wholesale
Shops,
side. Yeah, yeah.
supermarkets as well, who were also a big part. So you had like so Tesco and Sainsbury's who were unable to sell our stock or to there were backlogs and all kinds of stuff. So all that stuff which we don't need to necessarily go into again, but it was a challenge. But it was actually Shopify that came to the rescue for us in terms of we already had that and it was well established. We've had Shopify for over for like 9-10 years now. So early adopters of it. So our D2C has always been very strong. So while those parts of the businesses sort of stumbled or shut down for a period of time, everything kind of went all Shopify really. So I think my advice would be that don't put all your eggs in one basket in one channel, if at all possible. And Snaffling Pig is fortunately a brand that can kind of it has been designed to sort of span everything from gifting to FMCG to as I say, to pub snacks and to fitness snacks as well. So it's kind of it's de-risked in that kind of way. So I'd say if wherever possible that if you can be multi-channel and you can uh, definitely use online as your core if you can, so you have most control. But yeah, I think just kind of keep spreading risk in that respect because it means that you can keep going beyond any hurdles in the road that it doesn't even have to be as big as COVID. It can be anything that comes up. It just means that you can kind of de-risk.
Yeah, and I think one of the most stressful things, like I mean, I run my own business here. It's the stuff that you can't control. Like when I think COVID was I don't want to say the only time, but one of the times I started using the phrase like "we're really lucky." Like I've always taken the approach like you make your own luck. Like you work really hard, you make connections, and oh look, magic, the phone's ringing. Someone goes, "Oh, I met you. You left a good impression on me, and I know someone who needs your help. So here's an opportunity for you." And the phone rings. But I do think during COVID, it was one of the only times I've actually said like we were lucky to be in a digital space. And as you say, brands like yourself were like suddenly, we obviously we're not work with you guys, but the brands like yourselves were like, well, we need to go so much harder online now and go hard digitally. And we actually quite a few clients that were working on web migrations or Shopify theme rebuilds. We actually said like, look, March COVID hit, so let's wait until after December, after peak. If peak was Christmas for that particular brand, wait till after that to launch anything. We just optimize the hell out of everything we got right now and just go for it because we launch a new site and conversion drops, like it's going to have a massive impact. But I think I really appreciate what you're saying actually about de-risking. There's a brand we're talking to at the moment about potentially working with, which they're really well known for all their kind of heaters and other stuff, which is good for the winter. But all their air conditioners and coolers, well, they're good for summer and they're not very well known for that. But that is part of their new 3-year plan to start that, as you say, de-risking process. And I think it's certainly a good move. And I used to run my own sunglasses brand, and guess what? 8 months of the year, no one was buying sunglasses. Well, hardly anyone was buying sunglasses. So we basically just put the whole business on pause, and suddenly it was like, oh, sun's out today. Turn Google Ads on, and that was then kind of start selling stuff. But
It's true. I mean, and actually, funny enough, we've spoken about the advent calendar, and obviously that's how we got famous because we were on Dragon's Den, and we won investment on Dragon's Den about 8 9 years ago now, and that was a great PR moment for us. Yeah, it's money can't buy PR basically. It was just fantastic. And we're still kind of riding on the coattails of that. Essentially, people know us, and there's this long tail of those kind of videos because some guy on YouTube is now making a lot of money out of the kind of these. He was one of the first to upload like the best of clips, and he's making a lot of money out of the Snaffling Pig brand, which is
yeah,
that's early. Kudos to him.
fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's smart.
The little git. But no, but it's good. But yeah, so there's a kind of long tail, but actually it helps us as well because it's always it's on there quite regularly. But so the advent calendar is what we were famous for. It was our it was the thing that gets people talking the most. Obviously very seasonal. So we're thinking, well, people go on holiday in the summer. They're probably not. Yeah, they might go to the pub and have a bag of crackling or a bag of scratchings, but if as an indulgent snack, it tends to lend itself more to the autumn, winter, and Christmas sort of periods. So we thought, what any other snack brand should do is, we'll sell barbecues then. So we've branded Kamado barbecues. So kind of like there's another brand out there which is green. And there are various Kamado type brands out there which are like the leading sort of market competitors. We created our own, we branded our own, and actually we got some fantastic reviews, and we went head to head against them in the market leader in a review by the Independent, and we actually came out as a much better value option and actually just goes toe to toe with the competitor. So something that we don't even specialize in. But again, that was us sort of de-risking and also trying to kind of iron out some of the lumps and bumps of the year where you're just like, where the more kind of quiet moments, we've got other things where, okay, there's other bits that can kind of keep going. And the barbecue is still going good guns. So I'm pretty sure we're the only company in the world that sell snacks, advent calendars, and barbecues.
It's a very random mix.
Yeah. But it kind of
but it works.
de-risk. Yeah, it does. It works, and that's part of the silliness of the brand, which we love. So
I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Yoast. They are the go-to tool for getting your content SEO ready and Google loved. From keywords to readability and those all-important meta tags, which I know a lot about, Yoast makes it easy. Right now, our listeners can get 15% off all WordPress purchases if you use the Yoast plugin on WordPress, and also on monthly Shopify plans for your first 6 months. Just use the code WWS15, so WWS15 at checkout at yoast.com. That's WWS15, 15% off for better visibility, more clicks, and a healthier website. Let Yoast handle the SEO so you can focus on what you do best. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a couple more questions then. I think we got time for at least two more. One of them is about customer retention. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about brand, about de-risking products, about having a good range of products without actually, I mean, barbecues and advent calendars, you've not deviated from pork scratchings, really. you've evolved into other spaces, and I think it's a good way to do it. But how do you guys retain customers? Like, do people just love the product? Do you do some really smart email? Is it social? Is it the jokes on the back, as you say? Like, is it that you've created a community behind it? Like, might be a mix of all those things.
Yeah,
But yeah, tell us
it,
how
it
you retain
is. It
customers.
is. It is a mix of all those things. I don't think. So we see social media very much. We are not content creators. We don't. We're a small, lean team. We focus on selling a good product and good customer service. So social media for us, it's in and of itself, it's fine, but we use it very much as a more of a channel, another channel just to talk with our customers directly. And actually, it's the kind of offline or the kind of the private messages, the sliding into the DMs bit, which is where the pig in magic happens, as it were. We are very much it's conversational. So we take that conversational approach through our emails, through our website, through our online chat, through our social media, through Trustpilot reviews. People can get in touch with. They can just say the word, and we'll end up getting in touch with them, and then we'll have a proper conversation with them as humans. That's why, and as I said before, the customer satisfaction has gone through the roof, and I truly believe that's why people come back to us. It's yes, they love the product, and they think it's a fun product and a fun experience. But if you can make, you see, the thing is, our website is primarily a gifting website, and we believe that, and this is true. We believe that buying a gift should be as fun as receiving one. In fact, I'd argue actually, I find buying gifts more fun than receiving. I hate receiving gifts, but if you can buy a gift and make the person who has bought the gift feel good about buying that gift, that's the sweet spot. So that's why in the transaction emails we celebrate the fact they've got this and they've done this. They've done a good thing for their mate or their husband or their wife or whatever. And yeah, we celebrate that. So we really believe that kind of experience has been key to retention. But yes, we use Klaviyo, we use Gorgeous as well. Shout out to those guys as well. The Gorgeous app is fantastic.
Yeah, they've sponsored the podcast before as well. We love Gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're really they have been as a tool, it's just incredible. So we just use a mix of everything. Just make sure that everything kind of works and sings together. We sync everything we can. That any kind of data points we can sync and make sure that it's all available and across all touch points. But essentially it's making sure the conversation keeps happening. Just talk to the customers. Doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah, and I think just to add on the point about Gorgeous as well. We had them on it's a year or so ago, but they've sponsored I think 3 or 4 times the show, and they've been on quite a lot. So if anyone listening is like, "What on earth is Gorgeous?" It's GORGIAS, and I think it's .io. But yeah, Gorgeous it's such a good tool because you're probably using it for exactly the same thing, George. You can connect up like literally everything. Customer sends an email, a DM on Facebook Messenger, Instagram, TikTok. Whether they send you a WhatsApp, an SMS, even if they phone up, Gorgeous can know about all of that. It has AI, you can have pre-written responses. One point I would make about it is, and a way I think to use it really effectively is, I read a study a couple of weeks ago when I was sitting on the train, just browsing LinkedIn. A study popped up of how to nail customer service. And one of the things it said is, even if you have, say the customer, there's 8 messages in this thread with a customer, even if 8 different people in your team reply, keep the same name. Because one of the things that customers hate is when it's like, oh, Sam's messaged me. And you go, the customer, especially when the customer goes, hi, Sam, thanks for that. Can I ask then about this, or when's it going to arrive, or whatever the question is? And then Janet responds, and you're like, oh, sorry, I was talking to Sam. Oh, hi, Janet. And then Wahid comes back next. You're like, oh, now I'm talking to Wahid, and I was talking to Janet. And before that, it was it's a mess. Even if it's different people, and Gorgeous, you could put the same signature, can't you, for that customer, just to say, regards Sam. So you're like, Sam at Snaffling Pig, he sorts me out. He knows exactly what I need to do, and I talk to him all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I just keep it to we just sign it off Team SP, like Team Snaffling Pig, and we sign it off with a kiss, and it's done. And they just know that it's the same.
Signing off with a kiss is a nice touch as well. Yeah, definitely part of the personality.
There's times to not do the kiss, and there's times, but the guy with the
your
small
product
packets,
put me in hospital. Hope it goes well. Kiss.
Yeah. No, the guy with the advent packet covering his dignity. He got a couple of kisses.
Yeah,
so
he's not good. Yeah, God forbid what he'll send back next. Cool. And the last question, which you
Yeah.
kind of started to cover a little bit anyway, I was going to say, what are some of the apps you can't live without? You mentioned Klaviyo, of course. We all know Klaviyo. I'll shout out Seguno because they are our sponsor, and I genuinely believe they're better. And I prefer talking to Seguno than I do to Klaviyo. But Klaviyo is a very popular tool, and it does work very well. Obviously, gorgeous. What other apps could you guys not live without on your Shopify store?
Recharge for subscriptions, for sure. Um, Smaller, lesser known one perhaps, but is Orderly. Check those out. So they're very simple, like really lovely. Again, I've spoken a lot about customizing transactional messages or any kind of form of communication, but what it does is it just enables you just to take the Shopify standard template and actually just make it a bit more fun and engaging, and that's been absolutely key. Yeah, absolutely.
Because those
Yeah,
messages can be very dry as well. I mean, we won't talk about it too much
yeah.
today, but yeah, just to make the point, it can be so dry, like your order is confirmed, and then you get a
Well,
delivery notification from the brand, followed by one from the delivery company, followed by one from the local courier, and you're
yeah.
like, "Who's got the package?" Like,
Yeah,
there's three
no,
of you all claiming
exactly,
you're in
and
charge.
that's
Yeah,
something. Yeah, and I think to your point earlier about sort of Amazon, like if you want the kind of the dry utilitarian approach, go with Amazon. That's fine. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you're not expecting any love. That's fine. But that's where we have a point of difference, and those kind of apps, be it Gorgeous or Klaviyo or Orderly or any of these kind of little apps, big and small. Some are free, some are expensive. Some, yeah, but that all I choose which ones to use based on, okay, will it sprinkle some of that love for the customer? And that might sound a bit cheesy, but does it
yeah.
mean that
No, I like that.
they'll
That's
get
good.
a little kick out of it? And if the
Mm.
customer sees it, let's do it. Great.
Cool. No, I absolutely love that. And I think, I mean, certainly as someone who works in SEO, first thing we do on page speed on Shopify is go like, right, let's have a look on Google Chrome Inspect. What bits of JavaScript are firing? Oh, look, 45% of your JavaScript's failing. I wonder what apps you've got. And you go in the apps in the back. And I mean, we found one for a client. He's called James. I know you listen to the podcast, James. So hello. But we flagged it to you last week, James, about page speed. And actually, these guys had an app that like puts a countdown on when a sale's ending, but they don't do sales very often, but the app's always running. So it's always in the page load, and that adds like zero point 0.7 seconds, and like 2 seconds is the target. So it's literally something we don't use. So that, and we also say to people as well, things like Hotjar, Microsoft Clarity, like to monitor how people are using the pages. And I would recommend Microsoft Clarity over Hotjar. I love Hotjar, but you have to pay for it. Microsoft Clarity is better, and it's free, as you say. Like some of them are free, but only run that when you're going to look at the reports. The rest of the time, turn it off because it does. Microsoft Clarity seems to have a much lower page load than Hotjar. But yeah, certainly Microsoft Clarity, everybody use that. I'm a massive advocate of that tool. And also like Bing is growing. So like Microsoft, you've got Bing there as well. So get involved in the suite of things. There are some good opportunities on there. But equally, Microsoft Clarity, don't have it running on your site all the time. Just put it on maybe like 2 days a month or something. Monitor what's going on, take it back off. Keep that page speed nice and quick. And also, like if you look at your sales data, if you know on the 9th and 10th of the month, you're miles from payday, so no one's buying anything, or actually you're a US brand, so you've got kind of 2 paydays going on every month. But yeah, look at when it's at its lowest and turn it on those 2 days when it's going to have less impact. And ideally early in the low impact, so Google's got time to go, oh yeah, the pages get faster again, so you can see what's going on. But I certainly, yeah, there's so many. You guys probably do it. I'm afraid everybody seems to do it. Where it's like, oh, there's an app for that, add that. Oh, there's an app for that, add that. And next thing you know, it's like, and if you can have one app that does 5 things, like Gorgeous does, that covers like 5 bases from live chat to all your socials. Use that one in as many places as possible because then it's one app that's loading in the as
Every
well.
every app adds a little bit of code onto the site, and it just slows it down a little bit. And to be honest, I do need to get onto the Snaffling Pig one to clean up some code because it's probably a bit like a petri dish of code in there at the moment. But we can, so maybe I'll give you a
Yeah.
shout after this.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely fine. And the last tip I'll give you, George, and everybody listening as well, is if you put all your analytics and tracking tools into Google Tag Manager, you load one code, then fires off to all the other places, rather than you're loading like Pixel from Pixel and you're loading Google Analytics from Google Analytics. And then even Google Analytics and Google Ads tracking tags are different and they come from 2 different Google servers. Actually, if you use Google Tag Manager and put it all in there, it loads them all in one go through one thing, which again saves on page load. The only thing I would say is just be really careful of cookie banners these days. We've had clients where the cookie, in fact, probably 6 clients, I
It
reckon, in
fires
August.
before the cookie banner.
Yeah, sometimes it fires before they've accepted cookies, and other times, whether they accept or decline cookies, it doesn't fire either way. So then
Okay.
you have no analytics,
Oh,
which is a bit of a
oh wow.
problem.
So it's one
Yeah.
or the other, right?
It is indeed, and also like we don't know exactly what yet, but there's going to be a big change that in December this year. So don't worry, guys. We'll be talking about loads on the show. It is my bread and butter, so I will be doing episodes on it as we did with GA4 and everything else. But yeah, there's going to be a big change to cookies. It looks like Google Chrome might actually go cookieless in December, which could have any number of effects on things. They normally announce the date and then knock it back at least 1, possibly 3 years. So we might be fine. But the EU is waging war on cookies, and no one understands why still. No one's personal data has really been lost anywhere apart from hacks, and they're still happening. So anyway, we could talk about that all day. But look, George, I really appreciate your time. It's been so good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Nick.
I always show everybody this at the end. Like I've got a massive long list of notes, which I also would have read out in the intro, having recorded that after this. But George, I want to say a massive thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being so humble, sharing all your insights. And I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. All the best.
Sales tax is overwhelming. Never mind the stress that comes with a provider that's overpriced, unreliable, or leaves you waiting days to get a reply. TaxCloud is here to tell you there's a better way. They're not just a tool, they're a trusted filing partner for growing Shopify brands. They will work directly with the states on your behalf to handle registrations, filings, and ongoing compliance, so you can stay focused on growing your business. Plus, with a 4.9 star rating on the Shopify App Store, merchants trust TaxCloud to get it right, and you can too. Go ahead and check them out at taxcloud.com/winning. This is exclusive for the Winning with Shopify podcast listeners, and you will get a free migration onboarding service when you decide to make the switch. So that's taxcloud.com/winning.